This is Action Sports Jax First and 10 Training Camp. Sponsored by And the Jar and Levine, Accident Attorneys.
You know, Monday night in the bank was nice and all, but it's back into the heat for the Jacksonville Jaguars at training camp this morning. The sun was punishing in Northeast Florida, even in the AM. Not so bad outside right now. Welcome into First and 10 training camp. I'm Stuart Weber, bringing you all the storylines as the Jaguars prepare for the season to come. And with 2 preseason games down and 2 more to go, we're getting closer and closer to that September 11th regular season opener. Today, the penultimate workout over at the Episcopal School of Jacksonville. Tomorrow, they wrap things up at the night campus with a field trip to Atlanta next week, and then working inside the stadium once they produce that roster for the season ahead. Action Sports Jax Brent Martineau on hand today for practice, and it was a practice to forget for QB1.
There have been a lot of good days for the offense, and especially Trevor Lawrence out at Training Camp 2022. Today was not one of those days. An off day early and often for number 16, and really the entire offense looked out of sync. The defense definitely won Wednesday.
Thought offensively, we came out a little slow, found our spots here and there, but just got to be a little bit more consistent. I thought the defense really was getting after it today. They're flying around. They did a good job. So from a day-to-day perspective, not getting caught up in what happened today or yesterday, and really just zoom focusing on tomorrow and what's next. You know, I think that's the biggest thing.
Thursday will be the last practice here at Episcopal, but the Jaguars are still a few weeks away from playing a real game. That's September 11th against Washington. So they have a couple of preseason games, a practice against the Falcons, and many more practices still to get in tune for the season.
We get motivated because we've seen when we're at our best, we're dangerous and we operate well, we're efficient, we're to the details. And so I think that's the frustrating part when we have a down practice is we know the standard, we know our potential and our ability, and when we don't, produce to that level, it's frustrating. But like I said, these are things that you have to learn, and this is what makes you a good football team.
The Jaguars offense looked pretty good on Friday night against Cleveland with that first team. Now they get another test against the Steelers on Saturday, and they get an addition to the lineup because Christian Kirk will make his Jaguars debut in a game on Saturday night. With the Jaguars, I'm Brent Martineau, Action Sports Jax.
One defensive note as the Jacksonville Jaguars move on from veteran tackle Malcolm Brown. Brown starting every game for Jacksonville last season, but dropped in a depth chart behind Devon Hamilton. The timing gives him a chance to catch on with another squad before the season starts. Some other notables from practice: numerous players zapped by that heat had to go to the recovery tent. Take a little breather. J-Rob watch continues as he continues to inch closer and closer to rejoining team drills. Cannot wait for him to get rid of that red non-contact jersey. And some takeaways for the defense. A pair of interceptions. That was a big point of emphasis for the D this year to get those turnovers.
Yeah, it's one of those dog days, they say, of camp. We're kind of coming to this end stretch, and it gets hot, longer days, and we're out there competing and just trying to string good practices together. And days like this are going to happen. It was tough for us on the offense, personally and as a team. So you just got to fight through these ones. This is what camp is for.
You guys have had a lot of good days out here offensively, and obviously had a pretty good night. I know you didn't play Friday night, but do you guys get motivated internally as a group when you go back and watch this one today, or is it like, hey, that was practice, let's just come out again tomorrow and we'll be better?
No, 100%. We get motivated because we've seen when we're at our best, we're dangerous and we operate well, we're efficient, we're to the details. And so I think that's the frustrating part when we have a down practice is we know the standard, we know our potential and our ability, and when we don't produce to that level, it's frustrating. But like I said, these are things that you have to learn, and this is what makes you a good football team.
How much did you survive a scare last week? Did that scare you a little bit with the tweaked ankle, and you look like you're fine on it?
Yeah, it scared me to death. Those things, it's like in basketball when you come down, you kind of tweak your ankle. It feels bad in the moment, and about 48 hours later, you're feeling a little better. So I'm glad we played it safe and just got myself a couple days to get back right, make sure everything was strong and feeling better, and glad to be back out here.
I'm sure there'll be some eyes on you Saturday night, but that there's eyes on you this season. Do you like that? Do you like knowing that there's something to live up to a little bit here?
I mean, for me, it's just I have a lot to live up on myself, so I'm my biggest critic, and so nobody can put more pressure on me in my sense. I just go out there and be the best that I can be, and that's the approach that I take. If I don't live up to somebody else's standards, then that's on them.
The guy that stood out to us, we didn't know as much about, I guess, is Zay Jones, and he's really had a good few weeks. Did you know a lot about him, and have you been impressed by him?
Yeah, I've known Zay for a while. Even back in college, we have a lot of mutual friends, and we have the same agent, and so we've been very close for a while. And so when getting him here and us being able to sign together here was awesome, and it's just like having a brother, in the locker room, and it made the transition, much easier. And so, he's just as good as advertised. I'm glad he's, finally, being able to show the world, who he really is and the type of player he is.
Ken Riley already has a plaque in Canton as part of the Black College Football Hall of Fame. Very soon, he could join a growing list with Jacksonville ties to be enshrined as a member of the Pro Football Hall. Riley named as one of 3 finalists from the senior vote. That's for players who retired more than 25 years ago. Since his retirement, only one player has registered more interceptions than the 65 he racked up for the Bengals, Rod Woodson, who is already a Hall of Famer. Riley, who passed away in 2020, spent a decade living in Jacksonville during the offseason of his playing career, took classes at UNF to earn a master's degree, and taught classes at Raines High School as a substitute teacher. He also coached at his alma mater, FAMU, after his 15-year NFL career. The Riley family will learn if he's being inducted in February during Super Bowl week. Jaguars fans are still buzzing from their recent trip to Canton to go see Tony Baselli enshrined. As for this year's Jaguars, well, they still have plenty of work to do before the season begins as Marcel Robinson catches up with the leaders of the pack, the coordinators.
As we're inching closer to the end of training camp, we're starting to get a lot of our questions answered as to what this team is going to look like come the regular season. We've had the chance to talk to head coach Doug Peterson, quarterback Trevor Lawrence, but before camp on Wednesday, we got the opportunity to hear from the guys who are specifically tasked with making sure that the individual units stay on track. That'd be the offense, defense, and special teams.
You just want to continue to see them continue to play faster, continue to master the details, be a great communicator, find completions, be accurate at the football, and that's what we've continued to see with them since the day we got here for training camp through today.
You're out here, we've been practicing for the last couple of weeks against the same offense, and now it's time to see a different offense. Week to week, you're going to see different offenses, so just understand that we can tweak our system for whatever offense we're going against.
They all improved, whether it's those young rookies or some of the veterans. We had some good competitions out there. We had 11 guys reach their all-time max speeds. I think that's the credit to those guys are working, practicing really, really hard, competing. That's what we're looking for.
Sticking with special teams, kicker Ryan Santoso has been stacking up some pretty good practice days here in training camp. If he can continue to be productive in the kicking game, well, you might find out who your kicker is going to be sooner rather than later for your Jacksonville Jaguars. At the training camp, Marcel Robinson, Action Sports Jax.
So I don't know if there was any kicking, but certainly some punching up in Foxborough for a second straight day. The Pats and Panthers seem ready for the regular season. Tempers flaring at those joint practices. Even Christian McCaffrey getting involved in today's skirmish, apparently knocked to the ground at one point. So last year, one of the best high school games all season featured Oakleaf and Sandalwood on a Friday night. Well, in less than 24 hours, the Knights and Saints, along with Baldwin, kick off our 2022 preseason with a kickoff classic jamboree. Then coming up on Friday night, a couple games that count up in Georgia and more preseason games from Northeast Florida as we will preview the season to come. The Friday Night Blitz returns 10:30 on Fox 30 for the half-hour edition. You can also catch it streaming on our social channels as well. So check out that Action News Jax Facebook page for a live stream as you're driving home from your games. All right, that's going to do it for this edition of First and 10 Training Camp. We'll do it again tomorrow night, but we leave you with a gorgeous night for Crustacean Nation. Check out the Battle of the Sunsets coming from down at the baseball grounds in Jacksonville. The Shrimp did lose, but I bet everyone there had a good time. I had a good time. Have a good night, everyone.
Thanks for watching Action Sports Jax First and 10 Training Camp. Sponsored by Jar and Levine, Accident Attorneys.
Action Sports Jax Primetime, Saturday at 10:30 on Fox 30.